thousands. And this mentality, this racist mentality, is particularly acute when it comes to Muslims. Most of the countries we've been invading and occupying have been Muslim countries. Most of the countries we're bombing are Muslim countries. But when it comes to the 2.7 million Muslims in Britain, they're somehow regarded as an enemy within, somehow regarded with suspicion, if not downright hostility, by all the mainstream parties. That's why immigrants, minorities, Muslims support the Respect Party in very, very large numbers.
Right. Bradford West is the constituency, was a Labour constituency before 2012 for many, many years.
40 years.
Why they voted for you in 2012? What was the reason? What were the main issues and problems?
Well, there was the sick of being taken for granted. 40 years Labour ruled Bradford West, and the constituency sank and sank, and in the case of the Westfield hole in the ground, literally into the ground. And I came along, in just 19 days, I won a majority of more than 10,000, more than all the other candidates put together. So the people know that if you leave Labour complacently to rule unchallenged, the people will be the losers. We are the real Labour Party, that's what we say. We are the ghost of Labour's past. We stand up for the things that Labour used to stand up for. I was myself, for 36 years, a member of the Labour Party. Councillor Asma was a Labour councillor and a Labour member for many years also. But we are where we are because Labour is not what it was.
Yes.
And when they look at us, they see in the mirror the reflection of what they used to be. So if people want real Labour politicians, they'll choose Councillor Asma and myself.
Right, and help us. Asma, why did you join Respect Party? Because that's not the latest trend of fashion, because our Pakistanis, if they want to join a party, they always join Labour Party. Why did you join Respect Party?
Well, there's many reasons. One of the main reasons was when I joined the Labour Party, I was fighting for the rights of the people. I was fighting for the workers, the unskilled. However, when I joined the party, I'll give you an example. In May 2011, I won by a majority of 3,000. That was the highest majority in Manningham, the area, very deprived area. And in July, an issue rose where they were wanting to close swimming pools. One of a beautiful, beautiful building in the home for children, women of all cultures. And I stood in the rain in July and with my constituents all through the night till the morning, fighting for the right basically.
अच्छा उनके rights क्या हैं? ये हमारे जो लोग हैं जिनको आप represent करेंगे, obviously you are going to represent the whole of the constituency, and Asian people are obviously वहाँ पर उसके constituent हैं आपके. उनकी problems क्या हैं? Issues क्या हैं? Passport बनाने के अलावा और कौन सा issue उनका?
बहुत सारे issue है. Education का issue है, नादरा कार्ड का issue है, communication का issue है. और ये बात है ना कि वो देखते हैं कि कौंसिल के वक्त ना वोट लेने के लिए हर कौंसिल दरवाजा करता है ना कि वोट दो. तो जब वोट ले लेते हैं तो फिर वो उनके पास दोबारा नहीं जाते. और कई बंदे होते हैं कि उनको पता ही नहीं होता कि कैसे एक्सेस किया जाए ना काउंसिलर को. और बात ये होती है ना फिर काउंसिलर जो होते हैं ना वो ये समझते हैं कि जब उनकी स्ट्रीट है वो साफ है, फलाने की स्ट्रीट है वो खराब है, जो उनकी लाइटें खराब है, बेस्ट जो एरिया है वो वहीं पे है जहाँ काउंसलर्स रहते हैं. तो वो लोग जो है वो अवाम जो है उनको भूल जाते हैं. ये मसले मसाइल है. दूसरी बात है, ये खाली काउंसलर की बात नहीं है, ये MP की भी बात है. क्योंकि MP जो होता है ना वो एक कम्युनिकेशन होता है लोगों के दरमियान, कंस्टिट्यूएंसी के दरमियान और पार्लियामेंट के दरमियान. जैसे जॉय ने कहा कि ये जो 18,600 का रूल है, हमारे कौंसिलर कहाँ थे? मैं कौंसिलर से पूछ रही हूँ, आपने क्यों अपने MP पे जोर नहीं डाला? क्यों उस MP ने पार्लियामेंट में जोर डाला? जब ये कानून बन गया तो सब हैरान हुए कैसे बना. तो ये प्रोसीजर क्यों मिस हो गया, ये कंसल्टेशन क्यों मिस हो गई है, ये बात है.
राइट. मुझे कहते हैं I think you have announced today that you will run for Labour Mayor in 2016 if you are not re-elected as Member of Parliament for Bradford West.
Well,
do you think that was the right time to announce your next intention?
Well, it's typical that I tell the truth, and I told the truth. It's not something that's going to arise because I'm in Bradford to stay, and I think I'll be re-elected with a thumping majority just a fortnight from now. I live in Bradford, in Manningham. My national headquarters are there. My constituency office is there. My family are there. I intend to be in Bradford for the next 5 years as the Member of Parliament. It's always flattering when there's transfer talk in the air and big clubs would like to sign you, but I'm a City of Bradford man, and I'm going to stay there, hopefully with a big majority in 2 weeks' time.
So what about your second plan? If people of Bradford, if they don't re-elect you, will you go for
Well, I really,
that run?
if you came to Bradford with me after the show and took a look around, I think you'll quickly see that the question's entirely hypothetical, because I'm going to win that contest. I won it with a thumping majority just 3 years ago, and I'm sure I'm going to win it again. So I'm in Bradford for the long term to stay.
But don't you think because of this announcement, your voters will think twice now?
Well, I didn't make an announcement. I was asked a question and I gave a truthful answer. And that's why I ended up being expelled from the Labour Party by Tony Blair, because I tell the truth. I'm not one of these politicians who lies and obfuscates and says a different thing to one person from another, or a different thing on a different day. I tell the truth. And I told the Sky reporter, and he has it in his camera, on his film, that this question will not arise, because I'm going to be re-elected, God willing, and with the support of thousands of voters just 2 weeks from now.
So do you think that people of Bradford will re-elect you? Are they satisfied with your performance?
Well, if you could judge it by the response on the streets and on the posters and banners everywhere, the election is definitely going our way. I think they saw the results of 40 years of Labour neglect, contempt actually. The swimming pool that Councillor Asma talked about is now a private club, and the council sold it for £60,000, leaving the Manningham community bereft without a swimming pool at all. That's the kind of contempt which the Labour Party has shown its voting banks, its traditional supporters, all over this country, of all cultures, and the people are tired of it. That's why only around half of the voters will now vote either Labour or Conservative, when 95% used to vote for either of these two parties, because these big parties have taken people for granted, and that's the very last thing that we ever do. I have a weekly surgery in my office in Bradford. More than 4,000 people in just 3 years have been through it. And these people were abandoned by the Labour-controlled City Council and the 40 years of Labour rule in the city. So I'm absolutely confident, and everyone that you'll speak to on the street in Bradford West, I think, will tell you the same. Even if they're not voting for me, they certainly believe that I'm the one that's going to win.
Why do you feel people think that you have divided the Bradford community? Is that just an allegation, or...
How do you mean, divided them?
That the community of Bradford has divided. I mean...
Well, it's true that they used to overwhelmingly vote Labour when they had no other choice. But as soon as we provided them with a choice, we did divide them. 58%...
They are divided in that context.
58% of them divided on my side. And all the other parties put together got the remaining 42%. Elections are a divisive thing. You have to choose A or B. The problem with the other parties is that they're Tweedledee and Tweedledum. They are all the same. They all stand for the same. They sound the same. And they do the same. They vote for the same. For war, for austerity, for university tuition fees, for privatization. They all believe in those. But we don't. We are what Labour used to be. And people prefer it.
But you have... campaigned enough in the Parliament against Altaf Hussain, the MKM leader. Why did you do that? And
For
what
10
was
years.
the outcome?
For 10
Why
years.
did you do that?
For 10 years, because I have a very close association with Pakistan, I hold Pakistan's two highest civil awards, Hilal-e-Qaid-e-Azam, Hilal-e-Pakistan. I've been involved with Pakistan for 40 years, and with Kashmir for 40 years. And everyone watching this program knows that. So what happens in Pakistan really matters to me. And Altaf Hussain is sitting in London, ordering chaos, murder, mayhem, grand larceny, money laundering, every kind of crime. And that would be a big enough crime if he was doing it in Pakistan. It's an even bigger crime when he's doing it from London. So 10 years ago, I raised in the Parliament the question, why was this man given a British passport? Why was he given British citizenship? Why isn't he under arrest for his nightly broadcasts ordering murder and mayhem in Karachi? And no answer has been forthcoming. But the police are now closing in. I can tell you.
So they never responded to your complaints?
No, they defended their decisions.
Right.
It was a Labour government, Tony Blair, that gave Altaf Hussain a passport.
But what the Conservative government did about it?
Well, the Conservative
there was a
government...
hoo-ha recently in the Parliament as well.
The Conservative government did nothing about it.
Yeah.
I'm the only person who's done anything about it. I'm the only member of Parliament who's ever raised this matter. And I can tell you that I have been regularly in touch with Scotland Yard, and I can tell you exclusively on the show that the end of Altaf Hussein's reign of terror from London is coming very, very close. His arrest he was in Southwark Police Station just last week. The law is closing in. The wheels of justice in this country run exceedingly slow, but they run exceedingly fine.
Right. But was that the demand of your constituents as well in Bradford West?
Yes. He's caused chaos for Pakistan, rivers of blood for Pakistan, billions of dollars worth of loss, and the loss of innocent life, and the corruption of the political process in Pakistan, in Karachi in particular, a city of very great importance to me, which I regularly visit. I was there for the literary festival just at the beginning of last year, and I wept at the situation in Karachi, the suffering that the people have undergone at the hands of this gang of criminals. And the idea that it's being done from Edgware in London, over the telephone every night, telling people that they've measured their bora over the television, it's just completely unacceptable. We're supposed to be living in an era of anti-terrorism, but terrorism is being organized from London. So I've been on the case for a decade, and now, by the grace of God, we're getting close to the end.
Right. I'm sure Altaf Hussain is not very happy with you then. Has he ever tried to contact you regarding the issue?
I don't meet with criminals. I don't meet with people.
But did he try to contact you? What did he say to you?
He passed messages many times through the High Commission and through others. Why can't we talk about this? My answer is there's nothing to talk about. I've seen the broadcasts. I've seen your lips moving. I've seen you commissioning crime in Pakistan, and I will not rest until you're behind bars.
Did he try to influence you in any way, or just it's a normal contact?
I wouldn't like to go into that, because Altaf Hussein's methods are well enough known, I think, to your viewers. And my wife and my children are here, and I don't want to upset them. But I'm not afraid of anybody but God, and I'm not afraid of Altaf Hussain.
Right. You have openly criticized Israel over the Palestine issue, and I think you were the only MP who was bold enough to criticize Israel. Don't you think that is going to be a problem for you in the future, your political future?
Well, last summer I was hospitalized by an attack in the streets of London by someone wearing an Israel army top, fanatical Zionist, landed me in hospital with injuries to my back, my face, my head. And it was quite a frightening experience. But if the choice is either face this or stop supporting the Palestinian people, that's no choice at all. Whatever the price, whatever the cost, even if the cost is my life's blood, I will stand up for haqq, not only in Palestine, but in Iraq, in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, wherever that crime is being committed. I will tremble with indignation about it, and I will use the gift that God gave me to speak and the positions that the people have given me for a platform to fight for that haq. The Palestinian people, if they could vote in this election, if the people in Gaza could vote, trust me, they'd all be voting for me and for Councillor Asma.
You said 3 years ago that you will be a national treasure for this country. What makes you think that?
Well, maybe when I'm dead I will be, as that tends to happen.
Because we only give tribute when people are not in this country.
Yes. But I think I'm a national treasure in Pakistan, if I may say so, with respect. I think the people in Pakistan know from the 1970s the battles that I have been fighting to defend them and to defend their compatriots here in this country.
Right. It has been reported that there's some investigation going on regarding your charity work or the finance, relating to finance. Don't you think that will have any effect on your political
our enemies never sleep. There are always investigations announced in the newspapers. As it happens in this case, there is no investigation. There was a report in Rupert Murdoch's Times newspaper about an investigation which took place in 2003, a grand total of 12 years ago. So no, people know I stood with the people of Iraq. I stood with the people of Palestine. As long as God gives me breath, that's where I'll stand, whatever the enemies do or say.
Right. Your opponent in the Bradford West constituency, Naz Shah, was your supporter and voter in 2007.
So she says. I've never set eyes on her until the last couple of weeks, so I treat that with a pinch of salt.
But, for example, if she's saying, if that's true, then why she is against, if she's your opponent now from...
Well, let me tell you something, again, exclusively to you. That on the 22nd of February, the day after she came bottom of the poll in the selection to be the Labour candidate against me, she rang us twice in one day to ask to join Respect if we would put her up as a candidate against Labour in Bradford East. We can prove that, so she'd be very foolish to deny it. So whatever she says about us cannot be true, because she tried to join us and asked us for a ticket just
after her nomination as a Labour Party candidate?
No, after she lost the nomination to be the candidate. She was bottom of the poll with 13 votes out of 220. But for some miraculous reason, no doubt you'll explore with her, she ended up from bottom of the poll being the candidate actually selected. But when she thought she'd been heavily defeated, she called us twice in one day and asked to be the Respect candidate in the neighbouring Bradford East constituency. Of course we told her to get lost. We're not supporting, we're not fielding a candidate in Bradford East. We hope that Imran Hussain, the Labour candidate, will be victorious there, because where we're not standing, we ask people to support Labour, because we're a part of the left, we're a part of the Labour movement. And she claims to have been a supporter of mine, but I'll swear to you on everything holy, I had never set eyes on her, ever, until she became the Labour candidate against me. So if she was a supporter of mine, it was a pretty low-profile support.
Right, okay. Asma जी, अब मेरे पास थोड़े से few minutes है. मैं चाहूँगी कि आप अगर अपने हैलिफैक्स में लोगों को एड्रेस करना चाहें या कुछ कहना चाहें.
जी बिल्कुल. पूछ रहे थे तुम हैलिफैक्स गई क्यों हो? तो बात यह है ना कि हमारा मजहब, हमारा दीन हमें यही समझाता है कि always look after your neighbor, यानी अपने पड़ोसियों की खबर लो. हमारे ब्रैफर्ड में, जैसे जॉन ने कहा, बहुत अच्छा काम हुआ है और हमारे जगह जगह कम्युनिटी सेंटर्स हैं, स्कूल्स हैं, अच्छे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हैं. लेकिन हैलिफैक्स में मैंने जो कुछ देखा है ना, ऑनेस्टली ये मैं बिलीव नहीं कर सकती कि हमारे लोगों को ट्रीटमेंट हैलिफैक्स में कैसे मिली है. और हैरानगी की ये बात है कि हैलिफैक्स भी लेबर स्ट्रांग होल्ड रहा है. 10 साल से लेबर एमपी रही है. इंग्लिश थी, अंग्रेजी थी, लेकिन मैंने लोगों से पूछा कि आपके लिए क्या किया है, तो आज माशाल्लाह महफिल थी औरतों की, मेरी बहनें, मेरी खाला, मेरी आंटी बनी हुई सारी, और उन्होंने कहा कि हमारी जुबान का मसला है, हम उसको जाके कैसे बताते हमारी प्रॉब्लम्स क्या है. और जो काउंसलर थे वो मेल काउंसलर थे, हम कैसे बता सकते.
आपने उनको बताने कि इंग्लिश टेस्ट बड़ा जरूरी है, आपको तो बेनिफिट भी नहीं मिलेंगे अगर आप इंग्लिश में बोल सकते.
नहीं, ये
लर्न इंग्लिश.
ये ब्रिटिश सिटीजन है बिल्कुल। और अभी यही मसला है, मसला यही है कि वो बेनिफिट काट रहे हैं, कैरेज अलाउंस चला जाएगा, इंडिपेंडेंट लिविंग फंड जो डिसेबल्ड बच्चों के लिए है, डिसेबल्ड लोगों के लिए है, वो गायब हो रहा है। तो मेरा फाइनल जो कमेंट होगा बस यही है कि इंग्लिश में इट्स नॉट अबाउट वोटिंग रिस्पेक्ट, इट्स नॉट अबाउट वोटिंग रिस्पेक्ट, इट्स अबाउट शोइंग रिस्पेक्ट फॉर योर वोट। और मैं यही लोगों से कहूंगी, हाली वालों में से भी, कि जागो जागो, हमारी अवाम, हमारी उम्मा जागे।
Right. What are your views about UKIP ideology and the manifesto?
Well, it's an extraordinary phenomenon. It arises out of the swamp of discontent with the mainstream parties that we discussed earlier. It's not that people particularly like UKIP, it's that they particularly dislike the mainstream parties, Labour, Conservative and Liberal Democrat, but their pernicious poison about immigrants and about Muslims in particular, their intent on banning halal meat, for example, and kosher for that matter, their rhetoric about immigrants has become more and more disgusting. And I'm glad to say their support has begun to decline, because the British people at the end of the day know that we're all here together on this small island. We have to live together. We have to stay together, or we're all going to sink together.
30 seconds for you if you have any message for your Bradford West constituency.
Well, it's been a great honour representing them for 3 years. I very much hope that they will return me to Parliament. It's going to be an interesting Parliament, a hung Parliament, where speeches will matter, argument will matter, individual MPs will matter. Don't vote for just another number, vote for a real parliamentarian.
Thank you very much, Mr. George Galloway. Thank you very much for joining the program, and wish you best of luck, all of you. Thank you very much. नीराजन साहब, अभी हमारा हाफ एन आवर में देखा जॉर्ज गैलोवे, और उसके साथ मेरी दूसरी गेस्ट थी आसमा जावेद, रिस्पेक्ट कैंडिडेट फ्रॉम हैलिफैक्स। ब्रेक लेते हैं, और ब्रेक के बाद तो हमारे साथ ये नहीं होंगे, लेकिन ब्रेक के बाद हमें नाज शाह ज्वाइन करेंगी, जो कि लेबर पार्टी की कैंडिडेट हैं फॉर ब्रैडफोर्ड वेस्ट। उनसे मिलते हैं आफ्टर द शॉर्ट कमर्शियल ब्रेक।
You know, we're always striving to be